Good morning and welcome to Authentic Conversations with Moji. How are you today? Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi, yes sir. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀, yes sir. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi sẹ́, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi, yes sir. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé wa. Wàá múnú wa dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ wa, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. For those of you that don't know what that means, I'll be back to explain it in a minute. The song is so simple. Hang in there. I'll be right back. Authentic Conversations with Moji. Hey, welcome back to Authentic Conversations with Moji. How are you today? It's Friday. Friday used to be my favorite day of the week because I get to run around all weekend. But now Friday is I think I say the beginning of the week for me, because that's when real estate and, business really starts for most of us in the real estate world. If you're on the show, say hello so I know who you are. Good morning, Febby. Good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining me today. And I hope to God you'll share this video so that other people can join in the conversation. It's time we start to talk about destiny derailers, because I'm 56, as you guys know. There's a lot of mistakes that a lot of women in my generation made, and we're not paying attention to the younger generation or guiding them because we're afraid that people say we're busybody and poke-nosing and this and that. But I think it's time that we really seriously start to speak about things. We start to share our experiences with people and the people in our sphere, so that at least they get to hear our stories, and hopefully that will help them to guide them to their own promised land. Because I tell you, oh my God, what a lot of us women from way back then. And I would say way back then because once you hit half of a century, you're old or older. Anyways, so I get a lot of inboxes, and I get a lot of young people in my inbox asking me questions, and how did I do this, and how did I, get back on my feet when things went crazy. So I share a lot of my stories, not to, I don't make money from this, but I share my stories so that hopefully it helps other people. Bottom line is, last week, as a lot of things are going on in the world with coronavirus. A lot of us are now in our houses, going to school, doing things, and partners are not able to run around. A lot of Naija men are not able to run around and do their extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. So with the internet as well, a lot of people's things are kind of coming out. So I was on social media the other day, and I belong to a group of amazing women, but I belong to a group where a lot of women are in, and there's like all this stuff in there. So I think I was on IG, Instagram, and I'm reading, people are sharing this woman's post and sharing the post. So I let me go and read it. But a lot of the things that we go through in life, honestly, a lot of us choose the easy way out, right? And because we choose to take the easy way out, further down the line, I'm a great example of that. We always run into the wall because it's impossible for things to happen. The choices that we make always comes back and bites us in the I know you're thinking, oh God, Moji is a bad girl. No, I'm not. Let's be real. A lot of choices that we make that we believe is the easier route. Or like, people are in a rush to get married. You're in a rush to get married because all your friends are getting married, all your cousins are getting married. You're always the bridesmaid. It's like, hello, I will rather wait till I find the right person to get married instead of just marrying somebody or just hooking up with somebody just for the sake of it. I mean, live your life and you'll jam the right person. The right person will come to you. Patience is something a lot of us don't have. Guilty, guilty, guilty. I never used to have patience until life lessons taught me that you're better off chilling out, living your own life, doing your own thing, minding your own business. I see a lot of these young girls, PhDs, I mean, triple masters. I call them focal degrees, where they have a master's and a PhD and they're this and they're doing that. I even know a girl on social media, on Facebook, on my Facebook page. She has like 3 masters and 1 PhD, and she's doing amazing things. She's traveling all over the world, right? But all her friends are getting married. She's about 29, 30. All of her friends are getting married. And, you know, she's not married yet because she's got it going on. And the higher the ladder you climb as a woman, oh my God, the harder it is to find a partner. I don't care if you're gay, straight, monisexual, trisexual, any kind of sexual. It doesn't matter. The higher you go on the ladder, right, the harder it becomes to find the right person. I have a friend that's, I think she's married to a plumber. So there's always issues because when they have to go to business parties and Christmas parties, there's always problems because how's it going to dialogue with these people? And I'm not saying you can't find love, 10 steps lower, but be realistic about what your expectations of these people are. And one thing I can tell you from experience is that if you marry below you, I assure you, and people are going to go, oh my God, you're such an elitist. No, if you marry somebody below you, let me tell you, inferiority complex will happen. Especially if you marry somebody below you that has no dreams, no desire to do better, they just want to mooch off of you. Egbe will not. It's a law it's a law of reality that I made up, of course. So here goes. So this girl is dating, she's dating, she's living her life, she's traveling all over the world. She doesn't have a husband, and everybody's in her ear going, oh my God, you should get married. When are you going to have kids? Your eggs are going to be rotten. And her friends start popping out children like rabbits. And she's like, oh my God, Auntie Moji, I got to get married. I'm like, chill, man. Chill. And it does not matter. She's like, oh, I have to find a Nigerian man. All the men I'm finding are Oyibos. I'm like, Shukutu, you're finding men. What difference is there? Does it matter if they're Oyibo, Dudu? As a matter of fact, sometimes it's even best to go that route because a lot of Oyibos are self-sufficient and Kiniko, they don't carry the same baggage that Black people carry. So whatever you find that you connect with is what you should go with. So she met a decorated man on social media. No job, no work, no nothing. She married him. Egbe come now. Now what happens? Let me tell you. Cut the long story short, it didn't work out. Let me give you the story that really brought the show about, Destiny Derailers, because a lot of us wake up in the morning and we try to set up our lives and we work really, really hard to get educated. We work really hard at building our businesses. We work really hard, especially women in 2020. We are sometimes the breadwinner of the family. I don't know why it happens that way. I don't know how it happens that way. It doesn't matter, heterosexual, normative. We're in the heterosexual world, most men don't appreciate their wives making more money. Most men don't appreciate their wives being smarter. So eventually they'll find somebody, Dundee United on the side. Excuse my choice of words. Sorry, I didn't mean Dundee United. I mean a side chick. Okay. But they'll find somebody on the side that makes them feel like a hero. They'll find another woman that makes them feel super fabulous and super important. Mind you, you're sitting there speaking for them. Yashukra around the corner is the one that they really want because that's the one that makes them feel super fantastic. And that's why I said, when you marry below you, you have a problem. I'm not saying go and dump your husband that's below you. I'm saying if your husband that's making less money, that's not as educated as you, doesn't have the same drive as you, right? There's certain things that you look for that Egbe is about to knock. I don't care what anybody says. I did that, wrote the book. I've been there, done that, wrote the book already. Let me tell you, Destiny Derailers. Let's start with this lady's story. Very simple. It was all over social media the other day, right? How my husband of 10 years secretly married another lady with my money. How my husband of 10 years secretly married another lady with my money. The story is so simple. She gives her name. She tells you who she is. I'm not going to mention her name because it's not my business, but the story is very interesting. She says, I have a doctorate and I'm a pharmacist by profession. I live and practice pharmacy in the United States of America. I have been married to Mr. blah, blah, blah for 10 years. I was introduced to him by a mutual friend. See, pause. Part of the problem in America is that we don't know who's who. We go to the people's social media pages and you see them living like with a local. Last week I saw somebody post something about they went to dinner and spent 95,000 naira or 100 and something thousand. I don't even remember the story. And I'm like, honey, that's, in the meantime, the same people in other people's inboxes begging for money, right? So we don't know who's who on social media until you really check them out. And because we're all Nigerians, a lot of African people are looking to connect guilty. So you don't know who they are. You're just, well, this one will say I'm a prince, and everybody's a prince and a princess these days. Even if that tent, they're like so far removed from the king self. They're all the way at the gate of the village, but they're still kings and queens. So she put to them all. But from the way a person behaves, from the way they speak, from the way they act, from the things that comes out of their mouth, you know who's regal and who's not, right? So let's go on. She says, I was introduced to him by a mutual friend in 2010, and I went from Florida, USA to visit him in Maryland. She went to visit him in Maryland. Number one, you meet halfway, you do something, or you go first and then the person has to come, because if you're the one putting in all the work, then the other person does not have skin in the game. When somebody is invested in your friendship, in your relationship, in your daughtership, childship, any kind of ship, they make a move, you make a move. It's like a tango dance. You both have to be in unison. So anyways, bottom line is that she says she went to visit the guy in 1997 and she had a first degree and then she has a doctorate. She put to you for having your doctorate. When she went to visit with him, she was unhappy with the condition he was living in someone else's basement. Okay, let's start with that. You were unhappy with the condition the guy was living in somebody else's basement, but yet you married him. Kilo day. See, we have to start speaking the truth, because people are saying, oh, that was her destiny. No, stop blaming destiny, because the destiny where you worked hard, your destiny was to work hard, go to school, do whatever it is that you're supposed to do to get to the next level. Now you come and jam Mr. Psychedelic, fine boy, looking really dark skin in those days, right? She wasn't happy. Number one rule of thumb, you're not happy with the situation you find somebody in. If you don't love or like how a person is living their life in the moment, you always have to remember, what if they never ever go past this point in their lives? That's a question. That's something I always tell my daughters. If you meet somebody, don't be dating their potential. Date the person they are today. If you're not, I like potential. Make sure the potential is there, but always remember in the back of your heads, what if they don't meet their potential? What if things don't go right? You have to remember that. So she said, I went to visit him. I was unhappy with the condition he was living in, somebody's storage/basement. I was also very much attracted to him, as we were already discussing over the phone before I traveled down to visit him. We got along, we got married shortly after that. I had to file for him so he can have legal documents. Oops. I think the guy might have been a green card sexual as well. But hey, wait. I think the guy might have been a money sexual and a green card sexual, but let's keep going. So she filed for him to get legal documents. When they got married, they started a family. He also went back to school while I continued working. I put his name on everything. Shuku to you, darling, because you believe in partnership. But you don't become partners with somebody that does not have the partnership mentality. So you put his name on everything you own, but you're not really 100%, which if you live in America, most of the states in America are community, community, whatever they call it, property. As in, if I buy a phone, my wife owns half of the phone in most states in America. So you're kind of sort of protected. So she put his name on everything. And she also filed for a green card for him. When he completed his master's, we spoke about him getting employment. However, he could not get the kind of work he wanted. And line number 2, you just got out of school. You're looking for another job, right? He could not get I'm on the next page now. He could not get the kind of work he wanted. So he didn't work. He just started visiting Nigeria, right? So she took money she was pregnant with the second child. You're on child one. Child one, things are not going right. You already see problems, but you go and have second baby too. Some people have 3, 4, 5 because they think it's going to fix the relationship. They think having babies is going to mend the broken wheel. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just makes it worse, because now when it's time to leave, when you're thinking maybe I should get out of here, now you have 4 kids and you don't know where to go, how to go. I am telling you from experience, you got to have the courage to stop and think properly. You have to have the courage to look at your life and say, where is this relationship going? If Ojo is going that way and Mrs. Ojo is going this way, how is the ship going to sail forward? Everybody has their own paths. It doesn't make sense. The only ship that works is a ship where there's a partnership and people make their own rules. You have to negotiate. You have to compromise. You have to be truthful about where you want to go. So anyways, later on, she says, we started visiting Nigeria a lot and we used to stay in guest houses, but we later decided to get our own house and create a business in Nigeria. Anybody with common sense knows that you don't create a business in Nigeria unless you're going to live in Nigeria, because they will thief you blind. We all know that. But they did that. Another mistake, number 2. Now, because it was part owner of the businesses in the US, they started stealing a huge amount of money from the business, and he bankrupted the business in America. Meanwhile, we started having family issues because the wife, is now supporting his family and all that. Because the family, see, it happens a lot. The family in Nigeria thinks that the man is the breadwinner, so of course they want everything from the woman. Anyways, so bottom line is that the guy had been posing in Nigeria like it was all his money. She put to all of them. That's the way it rolls. I'm going to give you a synopsis of the story. So in January, the guy decides to go to Nigeria, and apparently the man married another woman. Busa. See, all this time, the guy is going back and forth, spending more and more time in Nigeria. Anybody with common sense will know that, anybody with intuition, I should say, not common sense, because we all have common sense. It's just not the right kind of common sense, right? And I have to say, common sense is, I have to rephrase that, because me too, I suffered from tonsillitis at one point in my life. At a lot of points in my life, I suffered from tonsillitis. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the signs are already there. Right? You talk about destiny derailers. What do I mean by destiny derailers? When you are on a path and you're ascending where God is sending you, you start looking all over the place, and you're somebody that's technically a destiny derailer. What's a destiny derailer? A person that takes you off the course of your life. A person that takes you 10, 15 steps backwards. But accountability is key. This woman has pointed the finger at this man that went and did his own thing. But she hasn't accepted the fact that when she met the man was not in a place that she thought was okay. When she met the man, I'm not saying you can't marry somebody, because women do it all the time. Women marry men that are women marry men, or men marry women that are below them, and then they bring them up. Men are so sometimes different from us. I don't know why. Women, we do deal with emotions. We're not dealing with our common sense. I often say women suffer from something called stupiditis. It's such an illness that comes from deep down within that's not curable. Reality and life lessons is the only thing that cures it. You are minding your own business, ascending in the path of life. Yes, you're not married, but your husband or wife is in the future. Your husband is waiting for you down the line somewhere. You go and jam a guy because he's good, right? You think you're in love. There's a huge difference between love and, right? Jiggy, it takes 5-10 minutes a day. You've got how many, if you're lucky, maybe 1 hour. But you've still got 23 hours of the day that you have to talk to this person. You have to engage with this person. You have to interact with this person. See, when you marry people that are below you, what happens is that jealousy comes in. They cap you. They start to bleed you. They start to take your money to make themselves feel good. They start verbally abusing you so they can feel better about their lives. A lot of women fall for this. A lot of women fall into this trap because you're in a hurry to get married. Young women are making the same mistakes that women my age made many years ago. I didn't get married till I was 36 because everybody was like, so anything that walked in at that point in my life, it wasn't until I was 52 that when you meet the right one, the right person, you're not going to be asking, should I marry this person? Should I not marry that person? Or you won't be going to anybody because you know in your heart of hearts that this person is real. This person is the one. When you marry for a superficial reason, or you join, because people think, when I say marriage, people are thinking walking down the aisle. I have a friend, by the way, that just, congratulations to my friends that just got married after 18 years. 18 years together, they just got married. To me, they were already married. Because if you can survive a relationship for 5, 10 years, she put to you, man, you're doing the right things. But before you merge with somebody, you really need to pray. You need to soul search. You need to make sure that your antennas. This woman put everything in the guy's name, and she wasn't even. I mean, obviously, she didn't really know him that well, but it happens. When you meet the one or the person that's right, you want to take care of them. You want them to be okay. You want everything to go well for and with them. But you have to understand that is this person putting in their all as well. Right? So you meet Shukra that left the village, made something of herself in America, worked hard, and became somebody. You already left you already left all those people here. And introduce you to Temedu. Temedu's mentality is still back in the village in Abeokuta under the rock somewhere. God forgive me for saying that. But the mentality is the rock somewhere. The mentality of this Temedu is not able to remove himself from that space that he came from. So Temedu marries you, of course, because he can't live without you. Yes, he can't. He can't live without the money that you're making. He'll tell you whatever you need to hear. Your power of discernment. That's why every day I don't even pray for wisdom anymore. I pray for power of discernment, because every time I pray for wisdom, I get tested. Right? Every time I pray, God, show me my enemies. Some weary friend will do some scoring. So I just continue to pray for power of discernment. When you are in tune spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, because part of the problem is that a lot of people are not emotionally astute. They're not emotionally intelligent to be able to pick up things. Like, I wasn't emotionally intelligent. Me, I was just facing my business, booga. I didn't care. Me, it was like, a lot of people don't understand what it's like to come from a place where, people are in your ears. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing the show, because everybody around you is getting married. So you think you have to get married. And then when you get married, why do people have babies like rabbits? Why do you have 4 children in a matter of 3-4 years? Because you think the guy is going to stay? Honey, no. Men will pick up their suitcase, jet, and wakapas. And here you are, the relationship is not working. I'm not saying people shouldn't have children, because that's that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying family planning, financial planning. You have to have some kind of back, like a backup plan. If this doesn't work out, where am I going? So now the guy goes to Nigeria and does a traditional wedding with another woman. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, after 10 years. But then I had to sit down and say, hey, remember when I used to do my show, and I'll tell you guys and my friends, right? My very good friends, how I didn't pay attention to anything. I was just busy working, which is a problem with a lot of people in America. A lot of pharmacists, a lot of nurses, a lot of realtors, because we're running around. Even nurses' aides, we're all running around trying to pay the electric bill, put a car in the driveway, drive a Mercedes-Benz or Lamborghini Countach, whatever yours was. You're so busy running around, you don't pay attention to the small details. Is the guy as aggressive and assertive as you? Is he making plans for the future with you? Is the guy or woman, whatever it is that you're into? Well, if you're a lesbian, is your future wife making long-term plans with you? Is she trying to contribute to the table? Even if it's not working, is he taking care of the children? Is she paying attention to how much money you guys are spending? Details, right? Small details like that. That's what makes the difference. And the way a person talks to you, the way a person addresses you, the way a person seriously interacts with you, it speaks volumes. But one of my favorite songs is Shile Kwaya Me, open the doors to my happiness, oh God. Open the doors to my happiness. May what brings me joy not bring me tears. I mean, of course, it's impossible, but I figure the more I sing that song, the more I'm putting it out into the universe. Because when I look around at a lot of things that women say happen to them, including me, it's like you go and buy a house in somebody else's name. You buy a house in your boyfriend's name or your husband's name. You don't put your own on it, your house on it, but you're both working. Right? So you end up being left with nothing at the end of the day. It happens every day. Every day. It happens to the best, the smartest people, or people who people think are the smartest, because you're so busy running thinking about things like that. You don't make a will. The guy dies, and then there comes Yashukura and her 10 children that they had in the corner. Look at J.J. Rollins. J.J. Rollins just passed away. His wife, who I think, oh my God, I saw videos upon videos upon videos. His wife, who I think he and he had an amazing connection with, right? Had no idea that this man allegedly had a child outside. Can you imagine? 21-year-old son JJ Rollins had. And this woman pops out of nowhere and says, oh my God, my soulmate is dead and I'm heartbroken. And shuku to her. If that's her soulmate, shuku to her. If they were happy together, shuku to all of them. If all of them knew about each other, shuku to all of them. But my point is, it's time that women, especially women, I'm not talking to men, no, because men don't usually do that stuff. Men will look at you and say, do you fit in my business life? Do you fit? Are you going to help me grow my business? What kind of home are you coming from? They think about relationships like a business. And people are going, let me tell you why I've been saying this for years. If most people look at their relationship as a business, life will be so much easier, because when you're hungry, you go to work. When you're sick, most of us go show up at work, even when we're ill, God forbid, except for corona, because you don't want to spread it. But no matter what you're going through, if your mother died yesterday, they give you, I think, 2 or 3 days, you have to go back to work. In relationships, we don't always show up as the best version of ourselves. We don't really present the best version of ourselves after a while. Women walk around with rappers and things like that. I'm not saying that's a good excuse for anybody to go and cheat on you, but honey, you better be on your tip-top shape too. But it's time we start looking at the landmines. There's no way you can avoid these landmines. If a person is not up to par, they're not up to par. You can't fix anybody. You can't change them. You can't open up a business for somebody that doesn't have the business sense or the business drive. We all have to start to own up to our mistakes and start to say, hey, what happened in the past relationship? What got me here? How did I get here? How can I move on? When your husband is going to Nigeria, and I keep saying this and people laugh at me all the time. Your husband is going to Nigeria, right? All the time, back and forth. He's going to Nigeria. He's spending more and more time in Nigeria. Honey, let me tell you, in the real world, you don't need Jesus Christ. So you don't need a woli to tell you that the guy has something invested in Nigeria that's better than you or bigger than you. You don't need a woli to tell you that your husband is cheating. You know when your husband is cheating. And a lot of women just choose to ignore it. You choose to ignore it. Baba Shukra is coming in at 10 p.m. Normally he's home 7 days a week. All of a sudden, Baba Shukra is going to the gym. He's going to the gym. He's working out, trying to look all fantabulous. Baba Shukra is carrying a suitcase to Nigeria every day. Baba Shukra is on the phone 24/7 to Nigeria. I don't care how much businesses you guys have in Nigeria together. Now lie. Mr. Chukwumeka is already in love with somebody else. And you know the part that really killed me? Look at this. Look at this. The man was jet black when he was with his wife. And apparently, you have to become Onyibo Pepe with the next wife. I mean, in what planet does that even happen? I'm asking myself, like, what happened to these people? Why is it that people are not able to be honest? And I'm not saying there's a possibility that people go to Nigeria and they go, in real life, people, you fall in and you fall out of love sometimes. Sometimes your person you think you're going to die with is not the right person. But before we get there, right, there was a lot of mistakes that there's a lot of mistakes that a lot of us make. We don't pay close attention to people's mannerisms. We don't pay attention to what they're saying. We don't pay attention to how they treat us. If somebody starts going to Nigeria all the time and spending more time in Nigeria, you already know there's something there waiting for them. It's just common sense. My father had 12 wives, so I was not raised by a player, because most people go, my dad's a player. I wasn't raised by a player. My father had 12 wives and God knows how many girlfriends. I was raised by the coach. And there's certain things that you look for. And even then, in my growing up as a child, I also fell into that trap. Because I'm not paying attention. When you're not paying attention, that's what happens. A lot of times, we have to start speaking the truth. We have to start encouraging each other. We have to start to listen to each other's stories. We have to start to show our own stories, because at the end of the day, really, we are accountable for our lives. When we talk about, oh, maybe that's my destiny, I don't think God, I really don't believe that God sends anybody on a bad path. I think the problem is that we ourselves are not taking accountability for our lives, and we're not speaking in truth. We make excuses for people. I often say, now you show me your cray once I walk past, because I'm not going to wait until you come back and destroy my future. A lot of us a lot of us have settled for so much less than we deserve in life because we're trying not to offend people. You don't want somebody to call you an elitist because you have standards. You don't want somebody to call you an elitist because you have integrity. You're hanging out with somebody that's stealing minutes on the phone or cutting corners. Eventually, they'll do the same thing to you. It's as simple as that. It's just 1 + 1 never adds up to 10. It's impossible. In Fantasy Island, there's a lot of people that sit around making up their own stories in their head. You're in a relationship with a man that has no drive, that's not going anywhere, but you go and take money out of your 401k to build a business. You're in a relationship with somebody that has shown you that they're not really there, but yet you're going around pretending like everything is fabulous because you want the title Mrs. And then when Yawa happens, you start pointing fingers. No, I think it's time we all start taking accountability for our lives. Once you start in your life, taking accountability and putting up what I call boundaries, which everybody should have boundaries, you'll lose a lot of friends. But see, when you start to lose friends or people start leaving and walking out of your life, the people that are supposed to be there will now be able to see you and walk into your life. We have to all have patience. Patience. Because part of the problem is that everybody is in a rush. We're all in a rush. We want this and we want it now. I guess as we get older, we start to learn that patience, the power of discernment, accountability is the key to success. A young woman this weekend who's married to a guy, and the young woman was sick. And the guy was like, oh, I'll see you later. I'll be right back. I mean, who does that? What if the person dies before he comes back? But they don't care. And you have to understand that when you're picking your partner, you have to pick a partner that's willing to walk through a storm with you. And in their actions, in the way they engage with you, in the things that they say, you will see that. But, you know, our culture makes the Mrs. word so important, enough that people will pay for a wedding that's fake. You don't love somebody, but you'll marry them, and then you walk around with your whole life hating on people that are in good relationships, that they have cultivated, that they have worked hard for. You walk around hating on everybody around you that's in a relationship that seems to look like what you want. But you chose Baba Shukra, and now you want Baba Shukra to be romantic. It's not going to happen. Baba Shukra is not romantic. Baba Shukra thinks that if he lays up with you in bed for 5 seconds, that's it. That's what is romantic to them or him. You have to start being, I think we all have to start asking for what we want in relationships, and we have to be willing to pay the price for it. If it takes you longer than your friends to get married, and you find the right one that will last you a long time, shuku to you. All relationships are not going to work, but I think we'll eliminate 50% of the heartaches and the heartbreaks that we go through if we just pay attention to details and stop sweeping things under the rug. Stop sweeping things under the rug. There's no need to be managing. There's 6 billion people in the world. Why are people saying, oh, I managed him? Why? You're managing him like his panla. There's no goat meat, but I'm going to manage the soup. Life doesn't work that way, because everybody we merge with, spiritually, financially, emotionally, could possibly derail our destinies. Derail our destinies. And the lies we tell ourselves, go on, safe. I know of someone that just got married because everybody said she can't find a husband. So she went and plucked a guy that looked like he had Down syndrome. You know, married the guy, paid thousands of dollars or whatever to get married, just so she can say, I'm Mrs. C, I can. Yeah, hell yeah, you can get married. But you can't get married to anything that has substance, because you yourself don't. But if you have substance and you're not willing to wait for a partner that has substance or that is going places, then, you know, Egbe will knock, because there's nothing worse than being with a person that hates you or resents you for your success, and then all they do is, in trying to milk you, they will derail you. And that's the saddest part that we have in our culture. We continue to have all these young women All these amazing young women that have built themselves, that have gone to school, that have worked very hard, especially in America. Somebody will just introduce you to jagbajantis and you too will, there's nothing wrong with having fun with a person. But before you commit to merge with a person, I beg you, because I have daughters that are 30. Speaking of which, I told my daughters earlier, I think they were like 12, 13. Once they hit puberty, I'm like, I'm not that kind of grandmother. You go and bring a child when you can't afford the child, you're on your own. My kids are still 30 and 26, and there's, career-minded people. And if they jam the one, they will know. They will know. See, when you love and respect yourself, you're not going to just give yourself away to any jagbajantis coming along. You will carry yourself with esteem and, put yourself on. A lot of you need to take yourself off the clearance table. Put yourself in a glass case so that whoever has to come to you will have to reach up. Because it's easier to pick up the fruits that fell on the ground. I read somewhere the other day. The good fruits are on top. So you got to reach up. You got to work for it. And I'm not saying spending money on them. I'm not talking about money here. I'm talking about people that will intellectually challenge you to become a better version of yourself. We're losing that in this community. So many divorces, so many single parent homes. It's really time to start to think about destiny derailers. Because it's not that you won't get there. Sometimes you get there, but you've gone through so much pain and hurt and garbage that you can't even enjoy it when you finally get there because you have so much baggage that you carry around. Destiny derailers are out there, but you have to be accountable for your choices in life and stop blaming everybody for the choices you make. Until you are willing to look at yourself and fall in love with yourself so that you can value yourself, you'll continue to meet destiny derailers. And people will call you a snob. They'll call you all kinds of names. They'll tell you you're this, you're that. Oh, you're arrogant because you now value yourself. Shuku to you. Don't allow anybody to tell you that because you're not married at 30, you should go and marry jagbajantis, or you should settle for this, or you should settle for that. Because let me tell you, behind your worst fear lies the keys to your promised land. If your worst fear is to be alone, stay the course. And stop settling. Because once you settle, oh, I don't really like this guy, but let me manage him. I don't like this woman, let me manage her. Eventually, the relationship will explode. And you're going to be the one that carries the luggage, the baggage. Emotional baggage, financial baggage. Now, this woman has put the guy on all her properties, everything she owns. The guy has gone home and taken a second wife without even consulting. There's nothing wrong with people taking a second wife. If that stuff works for you guys, shuku to you. For me, nah, I gotta be the main course. But if it works for you, do it. Just understand that you have to be transparent. If your partner goes to Nigeria and marries a second wife, you're really not his partner. Or you're not her partner. You're a fake, you're just the one on the side, really. Because a lot of people say, oh, side chick, side. Sometimes the wife in the house is the one on the side. Because if the person has been spending all that time with the person, then you're really not the main partner, right? It's time we all start to look in our lives and becoming accountable. Start loving ourselves enough to wait for the person that invests in us like we invest in them. Stop hanging out with destiny derailers. Because until we do that, I'm telling you, you can't get to your promised land. And I know most of us want to get to our promised land. Love is a beautiful thing, but it's work, it's dedication, it's being assertive, it's being attentive, it's paying attention to small details, because those small details, after a while, it creates an erosion in the relationship. And a lot of us are not willing. You'll pay for money for a Louis Vuitton bag, you'll pay for money for a nice jewelry, you'll pay for money for all kinds of stuff, but you won't pay for marriage counseling. Before you get married, is when you should have marriage counseling yourself, like the olden days, so that you understand if you're compatible. And that way, you don't waste many, many years, and you don't allow somebody to derail your destiny. Our destinies are there. Destiny is not to blame. God is not to blame. It's a lot of our choices that are not working. And a lot of you guys are running around asking, Woli, should I marry this? Should I marry that person? You should know if you should marry that person. In the moment you have to ask yourself the question, should I marry that person? That's exactly the wrong person. You and I know when you know when you meet a person. When I met my wife, I knew that she was the one for me. Every other person before that, I also knew it wasn't going to work. But of course, we also be on the rug. Oh, don't be so arrogant. Oh my God. Let me just manage. When you manage people, I stayed single for quite a while so that I did not have to settle. And sometimes that's what you need to do, is stay single. So that when the right person comes in, you'll know. You will really know. Enough of people getting derailed from their destiny. It's hard work. It's easy to, when you go up and then you fall back down, it's hard to come back up with 4 or 5 kids. I've done that. 4 or 5 children, you're dragging all these kids that you had no business having to begin with. Kids are beautiful, but there's a place and a time for them. And having 10 kids is not really, I'm sorry, you're not doing the children any justice, because there's no way you can give them all the love and attention and money and whatever that they need. Destiny derailers, they're all out there. Keep your heart and your mind open, but be honest with yourself. Be very, very honest with yourself. Stop pretending like all is well when it really isn't. That's the bottom line. This is Mojisola Wilson of Authentic Conversations with Moji. And I know a lot of my conversations are not pleasant, but they are conversations that we need to have in the community with each other so that we all can stop making the same mistakes and expecting a different result because we're lying to ourselves. I pray honestly every day that I always say, may our tomorrow be better than our today, and may our today be super fantastic. But it takes honesty, truthfulness, attentiveness, openness to be able to receive what you deserve, what your destiny is from the universe. Sometimes I ask God, if you know I'm going to Yaba, why don't you just tell me, Moji, go Yaba, don't go here. But see, all this stuff, you have to practice. A lot of people are not bringing the wisdom from previous lives, relationships into their present. But yet they want their tomorrow to be better. If you eat every day amala, gbegiri, tomorrow you're going to be 500 pounds. It's the same thing in relationships. If you settle for less, your tomorrow, your destiny will be derailed. If you settle for less, because everybody has somebody today, you too want to go and buy. You want to go and buy a husband. God forgive me. Or you want to, because that's basically, you want to go and buy a husband because everybody has a husband. So you're going to go buy one, right? It never works because the man will always find somebody that's less than they are, that's less than you, to make themselves feel super fantastic. That's the gospel this morning. Take it or leave it. But if you believe that this is a message for other people to hear, I ask you share the video, like and follow the page. My name is Mojisola Wilson. Authentic conversation is the topic. Feel free to put your comments down below. Do me a favor as well. If there's a topic you'd like us to talk about or something you would like us to all gist on the show, inbox me and share the story. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.